Hey everyone, welcome back. This is Chapter 6 of the Living Story Updates, and my name's Funda. In the last update, we took the fight to the Aether Blades. We invaded one of their hideouts. While we were in there, we learned that the group seems to be headed up by someone called Scarlet, and we managed to capture one of their captains, a woman named Mai Trin, who yeah, is still not talking. The other big news was that Ellen Keel was offered the opportunity to run for the vacant spot on the Captain's Council, which it looks like she's going to do, and yeah, so we're going to catch up with her and Magnus. Magnus mentions that the Bazaar of the Four Winds is actually occurring, a semi-legal market out at the Labyrinthine Cliffs, and we should go and check it out. So he also mentions to Ellen that the Zephyr Sanctum is making an appearance. Now, the Zephyrites are people who live in an airship over the skies of Tyria, and they only come down to trade goods sort of very rarely. So this is kind of a special and unique opportunity. Magnus suggests that Ellen go out there and try and broker a trade deal, as you know, this would be important to both people and would look good for the election. Now, Evan Nashblade, the head of the Black Lion Trading Company, he overhears this, and yeah, good idea's a good idea, so he decides to head out there as well. Catching a boat from Lion's Arch out to the Labyrinthine Cliffs, we get our first look at the market as well as the cliffs, and they're pretty amazing. ANET did a great job with this. The market itself is made up of weird occult, sort of bizarre items collected from all around the world, as well as bulk cooking items and special armor pieces and recipes how to make those, as well as crystals. Now, Ellen and Magnus have both made their way out here. They're currently mingling with the people, waiting to make their approach to the Zephyrites. So the Zephyrites live on the Zephyr Sanctum, which is a fantastical creation of theirs, which sort of defies logic. It's made of wood and held up by kites, which catch the winds. Yeah, it doesn't look like it should be capable of flight, but yeah, they spend all of their time in the skies over Tyria. We learn they've managed to harness a special type of magic, which they call the aspects. Now, there's three types of aspects: sun, air, and lightning. Using those, we granted travel powers, which give you the jump, dash, and then a pull from the lightning. Using those special gifts, we're able to navigate our way around the Labyrinthine Cliffs on a massive scavenger hunt slash jumping puzzle across the entire map. Now, this was just really good fun, and yeah, I hope we see something like this again. So clearly the Zephyrites have access to some powerful magics. To understand why, we need to move on to the Zephyr Sanctum and talk to a woman named Morning. Now, rather cleverly, there was a Redditor named Sukazik who actually figured all this out before ANET confirmed it. But what Morning reveals is that generations ago, before the continent of Ore rose from the sea, a wise elder called the Dwarven Masters together and named them the Keepers of her heritage. Over time, the humans took over the guardianship, and in our quest for peace, we discovered the sun, wind, and lightning aspects. We built Zephyr Sanctum and lifted our community into the clouds. Why did they do that? So we could avoid the influence of outsiders while we were honing our skills. We welcome any who will want to remain with us, but like birds, we're safer in the air. It's nothing personal. Okay, so that's interesting. Then there's a teacher at the back talking about Glint, who was the dragon who fought with Destiny's Edge against Kralkatorrik. Now, she talks here about how the dragons are just a force of nature, and yeah, they basically just do what they do. They rise, they consume magic, and then yeah, it's up to people to stay out of the way when that happens. They're not necessarily pro-dragon here, as they talk about. The kids are concerned about who will protect them, and yeah, she talks about Esther Golkin. So the Zephyrites are obviously aware of Air, and appreciative of the fact that she's out there and fighting these dragons. taken from Guild Wars 1, which I haven't played, Glint was the dragon champion of Kralkatorrik. During Guild Wars 1, she was allied with a group of dwarves called the Brotherhood of the Dragon. They worked to protect Glint's offspring. Now, apparently there was an egg that people have seen, but we don't know if any of those dragons are alive today. Glint was killed fighting with Destiny's Edge against Kralkatorrik 6 years ago. Now, ANET published a story on the website, which I'll link below. Shortly after Glint's death, the Zephyrites trekked out into the Crystal Desert to retrieve her remains. The scribe says that their predecessor, the Dwarven Brotherhood, guarded her legacy for as long as they could. They have gone there as they know that the dragons consume magic but do not destroy it. When they gather the remains, they are able to walk on the wind, ride the lightning, and channel the sun to their will. They then seed crystals with touches of a magic so that others may share. Okay, so that explains the aspect magic, where that's been coming from. Okay, so we return to morning, and putting it together, the dwarves looked after her heritage. The Zephyrites took over the guardianship, and they remain in the skies to keep safe. Safe from what? They don't say, so we don't know who their enemies might be, or whether this heritage might be an offspring of Glint, but they do seem to have a studied understanding of the dragons. In the second half of the update, the candidates finally make their approach on the Zephyrites. I really like here, Evan introduces Ellen as the assistant, starts to make his pitch, and then she jumps in and says, actually, no, I'm not, and starts to make her pitch. Now, I'll go on record here and say I'm supporting Evan in the election. I just think he's a good character, and I think he'll be a good addition to the council, stir up some trouble for the story purposes. But yeah, the Zephyrite sort of stops him there and says, I mean, look at that face, it's amazing. Anyway, but the Zephyrite stops him and says he's more interested in, whether they're popular amongst their people, and so I guess he's looking to make the deal regardless and just wants to make it with the best person. And so that begins the election proper. Both candidates are making promises. Ellen, if she wins, she's going to lower the price of waypoints for a month. If Evan wins, he's going to reduce the price of Black Lion keys for a month. Both candidates also promised to look into a fractal. Now this is kind of the coolest part, is that depending on which candidate wins, we'll either get a fractal on the Fall of Abaddon, the god, if Evan wins, or we'll get a fractal that looks at the Thormanova reactor explosion, and possibly explain that if Ellen wins. So that was cool. The way this worked was that everyone is now able to go out and do stuff in the world. Just anything that you would normally be doing. You collect tokens, which you can then contribute to your candidate, and put your vote in for them that way. So that's kind of cool. Well, the bazaar seemed quite peaceful at first. The longer things went on during the election, more trouble got stirred up. Amongst all of the oddities and weird items were monsters waiting to come out. Our old friend the Aether Blades made constant attacks on the Zephyr Sanctum's dock, but there's nothing to suggest that they've actually met before. And during one of those attacks, one of their ships crashed, and so they were trying to get their plunder back. Then you could either help Ellen return the gold to its rightful owners, or help Evan fill up his election coffers. Okay, so the election results. After much debate amongst the community on who would be best, Ellen Keel emerges victorious. So, I backed the wrong one, but never mind. So Ellen's our new representative on the Captain's Council. Despite the rather ominous-looking hollow projection up there, we'll see, I guess, in the next few updates how that works out. And so to finish, during the Bazaar, racers could prove their mastery of the three aspect powers by competing in Sanctum Sprint and racing around the cliffs of Labyrinthine. Kites were dropped all over Tyria, including some of the hard to reach places, mini dungeons and jumping puzzles. There was a mini game called South Sun Survival, not dissimilar to the Hunger Games, which was quite cool. And Aspect Arena, which you chose your favourite aspect power and then another PvP type game. Okay, so returning to Cragstead, we find that our favourite couple has taken a turn for the train wreck. Brahm invites her to go on a date, and yeah, Tilia turns around and says, "No, I'm going with Ebb. He's a merchant, and yeah, she's going to be leaving him." Okay, so yeah, turning to Divinity's Reach for the next update will be the Queen's Jubilee, and the Great Collapse is being rebuilt and has been covered over. Strongly recommend that you get in game on the 20th and the week after to be part of the events. These could be some big changes coming that could shake up Tyria forever, as the 1 year anniversary is almost upon us. So hope you'll be there, and catch you next time.